Hello again, my whiskey-loving friends. I'm here with a review of Cooper's Mark, a bourbon I'm not too happy with. Now, the first thing my gripe is, let's bring this in focus. Cooper's Mark. Guys, Maker's Mark is a great brand. We discussed this in the Maker's Mark review. Don't piggyback on that brand. I mean, you've got a nice little bottle here, shaped very much like Woodford. Again, a great brand in bourbon. And you've got the Mark name, inferring Maker's Mark, trying to connect yourself to that great brand. Then you've got the small batch name, and there's so many gimmicks here. It's ridiculous. And then you've got all this writing, little writing you can't hardly read. There you go. Including on the side. See that? All these signs they're trying to say, say, oh, we're doing something. And then you've got charcoal filtered. The signature of Jack Daniels. We'll even do that. And so specially selected barrels. Where do the other barrels go, guys? I haven't seen any other Cooper's Mark. Maybe they go someplace. I don't know. But so you've got extra smooths, charcoal filtered. So every gimmick you can have here. And it's from Minneapolis. It's not from Kentucky. And I don't know how old this whiskey is. But my understanding is on bourbon, you can't add E150. The caramel coloring. And so let me show you. This is Four Roses bourbon. You can see it. And let's look at it directly next to Cooper's Mark. Let's turn it so you can get a good look at that. I'll turn it the other way. You see that? I mean, my lighting's not very good. Maybe if I turn it up a little bit, you can see it better. Look at how much lighter that is. This is one dang light whiskey. And if we compare Four Roses, I don't think their typical is aged as much as some other ones. But even if we look at it compared to the Old Number 7, a mixture of 3-year-olds and 7-year-olds. Which again is a Tennessee whiskey, so I don't know if they could put E150A in it or not. But you can again see much darker. What it looks like, and again, that might be the weather. That the weather in Minnesota doesn't allow it to kind of age as fast as it does in Kentucky. Or it could be they haven't let it. It looks kind of like some of the scotches that don't have E150A. There's an excellent scotch, Glenmorangie, the 10-year-old. And you can see the lighter kind of color, reflecting a more wild flavor, not yet fully tamed, but in the case of Glenmorangie, amazingly complex. In the case of Knob Creek, not so much. Knob Creek's a little darker. Not Knob Creek, but Cooper's Mark is a little darker than Glenmorangie. But you get the sense, and again, when you drink this, let's put this over here so you can see it, that it needs more taming. Your tongue is tingling in the back. The charcoal flavor is almost overpowering, with a slight tea note that's actually fairly charming. And then it kind of hangs in there longer than I'm used to. As far as the smell goes, Not much. Just kind of whiskey. Smell hasn't really developed on this one, really. Not much of a nose. I'll add a little bit of water. We can get it. You can really see, I mean, again, in this thing, God, that is a light whiskey. I mean, maybe they use a different kind of barrel, but just, again, I did this for my Makers review, and go back and look at the Makers. Look at how much lighter that is. Just stunning. I mean, from there, I could almost trick you that it wasn't whiskey, couldn't I? Yes, I could. But then you go here and you can see. Dull. Kind of a sour note. Again, kind of a charcoaly flavor that's not bad, with kind of a tea note. Again, not bad. My feeling here, guys, on Cooper's Mark, and I almost aim this at the distillery, is you guys need to age your whiskey longer. I don't know how long this distillery's been open, and again, maybe it hasn't been open that long. And maybe this is the first good batch you can get that's acceptable. But this whiskey needs to be tamed. It needs more time. This is just not a high quality bourbon. It's sold at a fairly medium price point. Now again, I don't know if they do anything else to it. Maybe they do. Maybe they're trying to use more of a Scotch-like process. I don't know. I don't care. And I didn't even realize the color until today. I didn't like this whiskey. You can see I drank it. That I've drank it a little bit. And I was drinking it today, and I was like, why is this not good? And it felt untamed. And I just don't think it's aged well enough for us to really tell yet. Now, bourbon, obviously, again, Maker's Mark argues very vociferously that bourbon can be over-matured. That if you go to, say, 10, 12 years on Maker's at least, which, again, Maker's is in Laredo, Kentucky. Maker's use it as a wheated bourbon. Other bourbons may not act like Maker's. Maker's I'm sure knows that. But they argue very vociferously that 6.5 to 7.5 years is the peak age. A lot of great bourbons. I just reviewed the Knob Creek 9-year-old. A lot of great bourbons in that less than 10. I've had some that were 12 years that I wasn't quite as happy with. Don't know if that's a general rule, but this one I just get the sense again, and I don't know. Again, it's Minnesota. And so the temperature change may not allow it to age as quickly as it does in Kentucky or Tennessee, because Minnesota's a lot colder, maybe more like Scotland. So maybe bourbon in Minnesota is going to act more like Scotch. That would be interesting. I don't know how Canadian whiskey does. That's something we haven't went to yet, is Canadian whiskeys. And in some ways, this is acting a lot like one of those. But this feels like it needs to be tamed more. Every sign of it says that. It's just got a harsh note there. There's potential here. But guys, you gotta up it. You gotta up your game, Cooper's Mark. Gotta up your game. That's all I got.